Hey everybody, it is Debbie Sardone, the Maid Service Business Consultant, and I am launching the 12 Tips of Christmas. So I'll bring you a tip a day until Christmas Eve that hopefully will help you grow and improve your residential cleaning business. If you're not familiar with me, I own a residential cleaning business near Dallas, Texas. It does over $1 million a year. I've been an absentee owner for many years there. I run 3 other businesses as well, and I'm also an absentee owner in every one of those businesses. One of the businesses that I own is speedcleaning.com. You may have heard of it if you have the Speed Cleaning book. Jeff Campbell, the founder, wrote the best book on the planet, and we also have a training DVD on how to train your employees to clean a house properly. So speedcleaning.com is where that concept originated, but we also offer eco-friendly cleaning supplies and tools and equipment for households and also for the residential cleaning industry. You can create a professional cleaner account and get wholesale pricing for your business at speedcleaning.com. If you're interested in joining my email list, before I get to my tip, make sure you head over to debbiesardone.com and just scroll down to the bottom of the page and find the email sign-up box. And that way you'll be notified whenever I host a boot camp, webinars, conferences. I am going to be holding a speed cleaning conference this year. And also you'll be notified when I offer special deals and programs that you can attend and participate in. So let's talk about the 12 tips of Christmas. Recently, a friend of mine, Derek Christian, wrote an article in Cleaning Business Today. And he's one of the founders of that magazine. And because of all the chatter online in the various Facebook groups and the dilemmas that business owners have this time of year during the holidays with tipping for their employees and some of the challenges that actually cause the business owner because they feel a need sometimes to get involved and intervene in the tipping process, he published an article that posed some really great questions that you need to have answered in your business. So I thought I would provide maybe some suggestions for how you could answer some of the questions that he has challenged you to make sure you've addressed up front so that there aren't any surprises, which will hopefully minimize resentment with your employees. There's nothing worse than not thinking ahead of time, not having a policy, and then all of a sudden a situation explodes in your face. All of a sudden a situation catches you off guard, catches your office staff off guard, your office manager, and your employees. And there wasn't a policy for it. So that is why in Cleaning Business Today, Derek is challenging business owners to at least think through, ask these questions internally, and come up with a policy. So here are just a few suggestions on some of these good questions that he posed. First of all, one of the questions that came up and has come up often is if one of your employees is a training manager or a training supervisor and they have a trainee with them during the week of tipping, which some customers only tip once a year during the holidays. Obviously, a lot of customers tip throughout the year, but some customers only leave a tip during the holidays, during the week or 2 weeks prior to Christmas. And those that tip all year oftentimes will double or triple or quadruple their tip for the technician who's assigned to their house or the team that's been cleaning. So what do you do about the training situation? If a training manager, and if you're in the solo cleaning environment where you use solo cleaners or you use teams, these principles will still apply. But if someone is training the new trainee, it's my recommendation that the tipping goes to the staff that's normally there cleaning, whether it's one person or a team of 2 or 3 that normally cleans in that home. I don't feel that there is in any way an obligation to share the tip with the trainee. But in order to avoid hurt feelings and to keep that trainee from feeling like she's been cheated by the owner and her coworkers, which you know how hard it is to come by a good employee, the last thing you want to do is start off on the wrong foot. Is if you hire someone during the holidays, let them know that tipping during the holidays is pretty common, and it's really a wonderful bonus time and one of the perks of working at your company. But during training, none of the tips are shared with the trainee because those tips have been earned by the staff that's been working hard in that customer's home all year long. If you explain that to the trainee in the job interview, if you explain that to the trainee at the first day of training, and then you make sure your trainers understand the policy and have been taught how to explain it to the trainee once more, it would be my recommendation that you not require your trainers to split the tip with the trainee. I personally don't think it's fair. I mean, we all know that trainee could last a week and decide the work is too hard and not come back. But the technician or the team that's been assigned to that big dirty house all year long really does deserve that $50 tip or $100 bonus, which oftentimes customers are that generous. And usually the customer would prefer that tip would go directly to the person or the people she thought she was leaving it for. And if by coincidence today there was a trainee, she probably wouldn't prefer that the tipping that she did got split up with someone who's brand new and really hasn't earned that tip. So that's just a suggestion. My advice is, because there's really no hard and fast rule on these things, go with your gut and do what you truly believe is best for your company. And make sure whatever policy you form, it is one that you can defend if you're challenged. So if you're not sure what to do in this situation, it's my recommendation that the staff, the team, or the solo cleaner is not required to split the tip with the trainee. But make sure communication has been clear up front. Otherwise, I guarantee you there will be hurt feelings. Now, if the supervisor or the training manager on her own accord wants to split the tips and the team or the other person on the job is in agreement, I would say that's between them and the trainee. But I would say as a rule of thumb, it would be fair to not include the trainees in the tipping from the customer. And then, how do you split tips if there is a team? So, for example, in a solo cleaning company, most of the tips that will be left by a customer who is tipping somebody who's been assigned to their home long term. And so they're assuming that tip will go directly to her. Usually a first time clean or an initial clean, they don't usually tip real big, but maybe they will during the holidays. So if it's an initial clean and there's a team in that home, there's 2, 3, maybe even 4 people assigned because it's a big job, I recommend that the tip be split completely even. I wouldn't worry about, well, she's a team leader, so she should get 55% of the tip, and the other person's a team member, so she should get 45%. Hopefully you're paying more to the team leader in terms of payroll, wages. So it's my recommendation, if there is a team and the customer has left a tip, then I recommend that the team split it evenly. She leaves a $30 tip and there's 3 of them, everybody gets $10. That's just my recommendation, is just split it up evenly. Now, what about the scenario, which this has happened in my own company, where maybe the technician calls in sick that morning. She's got the flu, and it's December 10th, and the customer knows this is the last time she's going to be there before Christmas, so she leaves a really nice tip for who she thinks is coming that day. Maybe it's her cleaning technician is Martha, and she's been coming every 2 weeks for months and months. And so she leaves a generous tip for Martha, $50, $60. We've seen customers leave $100, even $150 for the maid, for the cleaning technician, the week of Christmas. So if Martha calls in sick that day, and Mary Lou fills in for Martha. Maybe the customer didn't even know that she was getting a substitute. I mean, most companies call ahead of time and inform the customer, but if for whatever reason you didn't, or there wasn't enough time to call that customer, and that generous tip, $50, was left for the substitute cleaner, it is my belief that the substitute cleaner should be told that that tip may not be theirs and that they do need to report it to the office. My recommendation is that you call the customer, and you just, if the customer did not know that a substitute cleaner was coming that day, call the customer and just let her know, and make sure she is aware that someone filled in for her regular technician today, and was that tip intended for her regular technician, or was that intended for whoever cleaned that day? Let the customer make that judgment call. But I would warn the tech up front so that she doesn't resent the fact that she may have to hand that tip over to the technician that's been cleaning that home month after month. But explain to her that she would expect the same thing, that if she were out sick and her favorite customer that she had been cleaning for months left a $100 tip for her, that she would expect that tip be passed on to her, and not go to the person who just filled in. So make sure she understands it's a two-way street, that you're just trying to, number one, honor the customer's wishes. It's the customer who is wanting to reward or bonus somebody that's been doing a really great job in her home for quite a while. In fact, we've noticed as over the years that the biggest tips, the week to 2 weeks before Christmas, are generally given to the cleaning technicians that have been assigned to those jobs the longest. So if there's been a lot of turnover with a particular customer, they don't tend to leave as big a tip. They still might leave a nice tip for whoever shows up, but the customers who have had the same team or the same solo cleaner month after month after month, they tend to tip quite generously, and the customer would appreciate knowing that that generous tip went to the person who she intended it to go to. Again, communication is everything. If you don't want hurt feelings, bitter feelings, if you don't want your staff to feel like they've been cheated, make sure you address these issues up front. Put them in writing, put together a little memo during the holidays, but speak from the heart. Make sure they understand that you're really trying to be fair. One company said, I noticed this on one of the forums, somebody posted that they were considering pooling all the tips that come in during the holidays from all of their employees. Just require that they report and turn in all the tips, and they would be split up evenly amongst all the staff. And I'm just going to give my 2 cents worth, and you can take it for what it's worth and do what you want. But I do not recommend that you do that. I would personally resent that if I were the customer. If I left a $100 tip for Mary Lou, I would be mortified and angry. As a customer, I would be angry if I found out that Mary Lou had to surrender the tip and it went into a community tip jar where it was split evenly amongst everyone. And it gets way too complicated if you tried to split things up and decide, well, this person's only been here 3 weeks, so they get a smaller percentage of the tip pool, and this person's been here 3 years, so they're going to get a higher percentage of the tip pool. Most people would end up just splitting all the tips evenly. And I'm a firm believer in capitalism. So I would never recommend that you confiscate people's tips and then distribute them evenly amongst everyone. Let the chips fall where they fall. If a technician is amazing, she goes the extra mile, she's loyal, she's dependable, she's on time, she does a great job, and she does this all year long, she's more likely to walk away with the biggest pile of tips than maybe the technicians that are mediocre, up and down with their quality, in and out with their attitude, or maybe they haven't even been with you very long. And so over time, we have noticed that our best, most loyal and dependable technicians get the biggest tips during the holidays, and they should. I would say if the customers leave a tip for the technician, let her have it. So again, the most important thing to remember is to think of these questions first and have them answered. So here are some of the questions that Derek posted for business owners to create a policy around before you're caught off guard. But I've already addressed a couple of them. Do you share tips with trainees? It is my recommendation that you don't. And then how do you split the tips up if there are several people in a team? I recommend you just do it all evenly and don't try to guess who deserves a bigger percentage. And then how are tips reported? My personal feeling is if the tip is left in cash, then let the technician take the cash home with her. And if the tip is left on a credit card, then inform the technician, hey, this client called in this morning and she said to add a $25 tip for you today, so please make sure you leave her a thank you note. So you need to let the technician know, otherwise she won't leave a thank you and the customer might feel like she's an ingrate. And then the technician can also look forward to that tip on her check. I believe, and you can talk with a CPA because I'm not a CPA and I don't give accounting advice, but I believe you can put tips on your payroll statement as a separate category from wages. So the business owner, aren't paying payroll taxes and workers' comp on top of tips. That's just money in, collected money out. And then one of the questions he recommended is how do you deal with gift cards, how to divvy that up in a team, or food items that are left behind. It's my recommendation that you let the team kind of work those details out. I mean, if there's food, they can share it, they can bring it to the office and share it with everybody, or they can just discuss who doesn't want pound cake and who does and let them take it home. I wouldn't get too involved at that level if I were you. I just think most people can work out those details. Now, a gift card would be a little bit different. If the customer left a $25 gift card, how do you split that up with 3 people? I would offer as a business owner to let them come in and give us the gift card and we'll give them the cash and let them split it up that way. If it's a gift card we could use or pass on to somebody as a bonus or as a gift. So I would, as a business owner, I wouldn't mind buying the gift card from the technician so that they can split up the cash evenly if they prefer. And then one question he asks in terms of a policy you could think through is, do you recommend reminding customers about tipping during the holidays? I think it's your judgment call. It depends on how comfortable you are with this and how early into the season you remind customers. Maybe sometime mid to late November if you were going to remind customers, or if you were going to just do a gentle reminder, like if you would like to leave a holiday tip, gift of cash, check, or a credit card bonus, please let us know if you would like it, how you would like it distributed. I mean, you could ask the customer. I've never left that note. I've never asked customers to tip or recommended that they tip. We just let those who want to tip, and those who don't, we don't even bring it up. But that's up to you. Just make sure you handle it very delicately if you are going to bring it up with your customers in advance. And I think that's really it when it comes to trying to minimize the hassles of collecting tips during the holidays, especially when you have teams cleaning a home or you have people out sick and others are filling in. What you don't want are hurt feelings. You don't want any of your employees to feel like they've been cheated, but you also want to respect the customer who has given generously in some cases, and that customer has an expectation as to who is going to receive the tip that they just left. So if there's any doubt about that, you can always ask the customer. You could call them up, thank them for that wonderful tip for the employees, and ask, if you would like for me to give this to the person who was out sick, who normally cleans for you, or if that tip was intended for whoever came to clean. So just ask your customer, check in with them, and they'll appreciate being a part of that decision. So that was tip number 1 of my 12 tips of Christmas. I hope that helps. And make sure you join my newsletter list so that you'll be notified of my conferences, my boot camps, my webinars. I have the Cleaning Business Fundamentals course that if you are struggling in business, or if you just really want to take your business to the next level, if you are trying to get out of the field, or if you're trying to transition from being unprofitable to profitable, or if you're trying to solve the enormous dilemma of finding, hiring, training, and keeping the best staff, then you might want to consider my Cleaning Business Fundamentals course. So sign up with my newsletter and you'll learn more about it. Go to debbiesardone.com. Just scroll down at the bottom of the webpage and fill out the join my email list box that's right there on my website. Thanks, everybody. That was tip number 1 of 12 tips of Christmas.